Hey everybody, it's me. It's Lenora from It's a New Dawn. It is a Sunday here in New Jersey, Hillsborough, New Jersey. And as you can see, the last actually, well, you can't see, well, actually you can, but the last few episodes are recordings I'm trying to do in my basement, which is also my yoga studio and gym, half yoga studio for my training. And my son had given me some kind of internet lengtheners or something to make the internet better, and I think it's working, so it's really great. Because eventually I do want to rent out slash don't want to rent out the tiny home that I've been doing my podcast in. I really like it because it's like a she cave, but I bought it for an investment, so really should start renting it out when COVID is done and out of here eventually. But anyway, it is a Sunday, kind of cold here in New Jersey, but it's November. So I am sitting here with Kawan Glover, and he is a survivor because he has lived through a stroke and 3 brain surgeries. He has also dealt with suicidal ideations, 1 attempt, opiate addiction, depression, and a bid $1.2 million in medical debt. Despite these hardships, he has started his own company called Overcome Adversity. Is it Overcoming Adversity or Overcome Adversity?
Overcome.
Okay. Which leverages his ordeal to help others, as the name says, overcome their adversity, no matter the shape or form. He is also a writer, public speaker, and a self-published author of a memoir entitled Favor: How Stroke, Struggle, and Surgery Helped Me Find My Life's Purpose. And I'm really excited to sit down with you today. I'm so excited to hear this story. So I am turning the camera over to you. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Go on.
Thank you for having me, Lenora. It is a pleasure and honor to be able to speak to you and your audience. So the story begins ending high school. I've got it all. I got the good grades. I've, picked the college I'm going to go to. I had the girl, the car, everything in my life had gone easier. I come from a 2-parent household. I have a younger sister and an older brother. Everything was pretty much on the up and up, and I thought my life was going to be streamlined for success. I wasn't until my sophomore year in college where I was going to my mentor's house, Brent Simpson. We were doing finance work, and he was teaching me the ropes. And then I was having trouble talking one day. So, I'm talking to you now very clearly, but when I was talking to him, it sounded like a broken record, like that. Like that kind of thing. I was having trouble writing. So him and his wife sent me to the doctor. That doctor sent me to a hospital. They did a CAT scan, say you had something in your brain that shouldn't be there. And I was like, okay, take it out. And they were like, no. And then they sent me to another hospital and they did an MRI and something called a cavernous malformation appeared. I still, again, at that age, 20, I had no inkling of what that meant. So I was like, okay, take it out. And they were like, no, we're going to see you on the monitor. I want to say within a couple of days to a week, I started getting dizzy, blurry vision, and I was back in the hospital, and they decided to operate on my brain on August 15th, 2014. That was my first brain surgery. And again, I guess they don't want to, they push off operation till it's absolutely necessary, especially with this high value real estate in your brain. But I kind of wish it operated sooner, so I wouldn't have had, that happen to me. But being 20, you don't want to rest. You don't want to stop moving. So within a week after the surgery, I returned to school, and school activity, life in general, without rest doesn't really bode well when you just came out of brain surgery. So within a month, I had a stroke, and I was back in the hospital. And then I
Wow.
and then I did a stint about a month in rehab, and then I returned to school. But as I was leaving rehab, I had this one event happen. Well, if happened to someone else is something I observed. Weird.
What were the repercussions from the stroke that you had?
So I had after the stroke, I had to relearn to walk because one side of my body had major
Yeah,
deficits.
what side was affected?
The right side. So,
Oh, okay.
I'm right hand dominant. So I had to learn how to write with my left hand, relearn how to write, walk. Just kind of relearn everything on that side. But eventually I got better. And like I said, when I was leaving, it was more of a mental shift when I was in a gift shop with my group and we were tasked with it to handle money. And there was a guy in front of the line, there was a person in front of me, and then it was me. And as he was the guy at the front of the line was struggling with the transaction, the person behind him started growling and moaning and groaning, just seemed frustrated or inconvenienced. And then I thought to myself that night, wow, is that the way I'd always viewed people who weren't able to do things in a timely fashion? If was I frustrated by people who weren't able-bodied? And that was the first instance of perspective shifts I started to gain from my ordeal. And I went
Yeah.
back into school with that following year.
Hmm.
And then this is 2015. I fell into a massive depression that summer because I had played football, I had run track, and I had boxed my first semester in Maryland. And as a
All like traumas to your head,
right,
like your football and boxing. I mean, I have 4 sons, so I know. I always worried about. A registered nurse also, and always worried about the head trauma because that's
the
pretty bad.
the funny thing about my ordeal, I don't think it was the head trauma. I actually found out maybe last year that whatever the mass was in my brain, it probably been there since I was born. Just my
Yeah.
lifestyle, the stress of college, of adjusting, trying to do things more than I was probably able to, or made my plate too full. The
Hmm.
stress, coupled with the head trauma that I had developed over time, probably created a condition that allowed it to burst. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it was interesting to learn that after the fact, after I've been through all the physical stuff. But I'm in a better place now. But a lot of the battle, really, the battle was the mental and emotional. When my identity as a young Black man and an athlete, my expectation of how my life was supposed to go was directly in confrontation with my reality.
Hmm.
And that, when you cold and a hot front hit, you create a tornado, and that warped our perception, my self-image, and caused a massive depression. um just not able to really understand or really able to grasp what was actually happening to me. But I made it through. I kept pushing forward, and when things started to look better, I got an internship and things were starting to look up, and where I went back to my surgeon who had been, doing MRI scans, reading my results. And he always said, there's something there, but I can't tell what it is. Well, this day, it was in September, he came into the room. His demeanor was totally different. His body language was just kind of small. And he would just put his head down and he said, I don't know how to tell you this, but the mass is coming back bigger and faster. And instantly my mom kind of broke down and my dad was looking around, and I just felt this overwhelming urge to comfort them or like protect them. So I just said, sign me up for the next surgery. And my doctor was kind of like, you don't want to think about it or consider. I was just like, no, let's get it done. So
Hmm.
we had that.
How old were you when this happened?
So
How old?
this had to be 21. So this is
Okay,
a
so
year
you
later.
okay. Hmm.
And I had the surgery on October 1st, 2015. And before the surgery, they told me something about a spinal tap. I had no clue what that was, but basically they hooked up something in my spine to drain the brain fluid. And because your brain is floating in a gray matter, my head was knocking around my skull. And on a scale from 1 to 10 in regards to pain, this was like a 37. So every movement
Oh no.
was
Mm.
painful. And they
Hmm.
gave me fentanyl to
Oh.
deal with the pain. And they
Hmm.
say that's like heroin on steroids. And it was more than a painkiller. It was like bliss. Like when they injected into my vein, I
I know,
was
I know.
I was like, I need more of this. Like every hour I wanted more. And
I
then
mean,
they
just
I understand.
I know what fentanyl is. Yeah.
And then it started compressing my chest cavity. So they gave me Percocet and Fiercet on the way out. I went on back to school in 2016, and I started abusing Percocet, Firsed, and
Um,
codeine, promethazine, any drug I really get my hands on, alcohol, marijuana, just to separate myself, find some form of escape from my reality, to separate
mhm.
myself, isolate, things like that. I got a girlfriend. She encouraged me. Oh, it came to a point where I realized that drugs weren't doing anything for me, so I kicked them all, kind of a one day cold turkey.
You
And
just kicked them. You just
yeah,
kicked them all.
yeah.
You didn't go to therapy. You didn't. Wow, good for you.
And then
That's hard. That's really hard.
yeah, and once you kind of run into that thing, especially with the Percocet, the opioids, and the cough syrup, you can never go back. So it's not like you can say, "Hey, I'm gonna just do it one time, be fine." Like I don't touch that stuff. Like the most I do now is Tylenol, if that.
Okay, good for
Um,
you.
and then I had a girlfriend who encouraged me to to invest in my mental health, and they had therapy on campus, so I did that, and everything was going good. I graduated in May of 2017, and then September rolled around again. I started having the headaches, and I went to the doctor. She happened to not be in that day, so I went to the hospital, and they were just like, the mass is back. And I went on to have my last surgery on October 12th. In between that time, we were searching for doctors. The first one we found didn't take my insurance. The second one said bluntly, if you don't get something done, you're gonna die. And I was just like, well, you're gonna do something? And they were like, no. So they sent me to like radiation and all this other thing. But eventually that first doctor met with that other doctor and met with my first surgeon. They all agreed that this Dr. Dr. James K. Liu will be the one to do a procedure. 15-hour procedure, October 12th, 2017. Surgery was successful. A number of depressive bouts afterwards, feeling of loneliness, self-worthlessness, not really aligning with my appearance. But then I got on Facebook one day, I want to say in January of 2018, and just started talking. And I haven't shut up since. So that's my
So
story, and I'm sticking to it.
there's you don't have any paralysis in your face, do you?
No, I don't have any paralysis, but there's no feeling here. And
Yeah,
there's no feeling.
I had a fractured skull at 19, and
Wow.
I had a major car accident when I was 19. I had a nerve crushed on my left side. It was like I had a stroke. But about 85% of my facial movement after therapy came back. But so you didn't have anything in your face. Just you can't feel. Did you feel like tingling? Do you feel like tingling
Yeah,
a little
so
bit?
we're right before, as I was leading up to the third surgery, I did lose like my hearing. I lost a lot of
Yeah.
vision inside.
I'm deaf. I'm deaf in my left ear. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, wow. But I do feel the tingling. I do feel like random like pain in my face on this side, so I can tell maybe in a couple of years that'll come back. But
Yeah.
I'm not down about it. I think I found a lot of gratitude in my story and being able to write about it and share it with people
Yeah.
like you. That gives me a lot of motivation, inspiration to move forward. So again, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
It's a great story. And then, okay, so all of this adversity happened. And what I had put out on Facebook, anybody who has faced adversity and is teaching others to overcome, and you answered, and tell me about what you did. Tell me what you do with people to help them, and your book.
Yeah, so on the surface level, I just tell my story. Let them know they are not alone. There are other people like you. There are other people going through with something similar or something completely different, but it's an adversity. I encourage them to understand that for me and a lot of other people, the person that is, or the thing that is causing you to wallow or live in that space of victimhood is the person in the mirror. And I show that through my story. And I call myself, my problem was self cannibalism and the thought processes and the negative thought loops I created and tried to push them off on other people. And then on the next level, speaking, share my story to a larger group, getting on podcasts like yours. And then I have my coaching business where I work one on one with people to get them out of victimhood, get them out of the neighborhood where victims live and choose to stay and choose to wallow in that. Misery loves company, and it's a world that warm and embrace, and it feels good to just be well was me, and it just feels so good. But my job is to get you out of victimhood into victory. And I didn't realize it, but like my logo looks like a V, and the thing that the artist put on my flyer looks like a V. So
Yeah.
you know, you often go down to the valley, but to achieve or start climbing the other part of the V, you have to get to the bottom. And at that bottom, it's not your fault of the things that have happened to you happen, but it is your responsibility to make a decision to start doing things in your life, start thinking ways, start practicing, start developing strategies, tips, and tricks to help you go up the other side of the incline. And that's where I usually meet people at. And I don't think anybody's tragedy or adversity is bigger or better or worse than others. We're all the same and built for the fight. We're meant to fight. So I meet people where they are and get them to be the hero in their own story.
Beautiful. I love that. And do you think that, well, people, this is my feeling, is that you really have to go through some kind of adversity to really appreciate what life has to offer.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, if we don't go through these, I wouldn't change my past. I've been on many podcasts telling my story, not only my accident, a bunch of other things that's happened in my life, but I would not change it for anything, because it definitely, definitely, definitely made me appreciate each and every breath that I take. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that, and I'm not like woo woo, I am woo woo, but like, I thoroughly mean that. Like, I'm not just saying that. I
Yeah.
appreciate every day.
Yeah, and I think, life-threatening conditions, I think adversity, no matter what forms it comes in, Gary Vaynerchuk said adversity is the foundation for
My
success.
favorite man.
And I think, look, the root word adverse, it means like the opposite, or the point that the force that goes against something. So when you think about the sun or the light and the darkness, you would not appreciate the sunshine without the rain. You wouldn't appreciate the warmth without without the cold. So I think in order for you to appreciate and value your life, there needs to be some type of difficulty, some type of challenge, some type of struggle, so you can learn to understand and value and find gratitude and everything. Every breath I take is because I know I could have died on that table. So I 100%, 110, 120, 130, and so on agree with you and that point.
And you're so young, so I didn't. First of all, were you on Gary's show?
No.
Oh, okay, because I listen to him a lot. Like, I'm on in the morning, and he's on in my pods a lot of the time. That is why I don't know if you're on TikTok, but you should be, because you have this beautiful gift of this loving. You just want to share this to the world, right? So I tell my guests, especially the ones from Facebook, who just TikTok's for kids, but it is a great platform. And if you do listen to Gary Vee, he's the reason why I went on TikTok in March when COVID hit, because it is a great platform to tell your story, whatever you want to do. But it's really great that at your young age that you realize this, because for me, because of all the crap that I went through, it took many, many, many years for me to get to, and I'm 56 now. So it took many years for me to really, really appreciate and truly believe that. I've always said, oh, yes, I'm grateful, but not really meaning it with meaning. It was like, now it took me a lot. My point is, being this young for yourself and realizing this is such a gift. I don't know if you have kids, but you're going to teach your children at a very young age. I have 5 kids, and I think I did an okay job, but as parents, we sort of want to save our kids, but you should do the opposite and let them find their way, because, like you said, through those adversities, even at a young age, they're going to come out a lot stronger, and they're going to appreciate things a lot better.
Absolutely. And you keep saying, like, at this young age, like, we're not the same age. I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Oh, wait, how old are you? You're only 28, right?
Yeah, now I'm 26. You're 26, right?
I'm 56.
Wow. I wouldn't have known it. You don't look a day over 25.
You're funny. Come on. I thought you were telling a joke. Come on. Come on. No, you're funny. Anyway, so I want to know about your book. How long did it take you to write? And I know it's on Amazon, right? And everything.
Yes, on Amazon, the Kindle and ebook form. I mean, Kindle and paperback format. But I remember, like, I noted the exact moment I started. It was July 13th, 2018 at 6:54 a.m. And
You're like with this memory. Do you have any like memory loss? Do you have any
no,
nothing? No residual effects.
no, nothing mental. The only effects I have now are physical, and I still haven't regained full dexterity on my right side, and the numbness. But
Hmm.
I remember
Wow.
pretty much everything.
Wow.
And
Oh,
the way
wow.
technology works now, it's all documented. Like I can pull up the first version of the book. But again, you have to give yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of grace. So when I started writing it on July 13th, I wasn't really emotionally ready to relive everything and put it on paper. And when I finally was, my first draft was like a autobiography. I put everything from my birth to, what I happened later in life. And when I first sent it to my editor, she was just like, yeah, so I'm a sculptor and I fine tune statues. And
Are you're a sculptor?
no, no, no. This is what my editor said. She
Oh,
gave me an
oh,
analogy.
oh, 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 okay.
She gave me an analogy, and she's a fine. She said, "I use a fine tooth comb to kind of rough out, smooth out the edges. What
Mhm.
you've given me is a block of wood, and you're not Barack Obama, so no one really knows who you are. Wants to know when you were born." And then
Mhm.
I started thinking about the great movies I watched, or the YouTube videos I watched about storytellers, and I thought I should write it like a movie. So that's when I came to the realization that started a certain way and then, attach it to my creative side. And I got finished with it, I want to say in June of this year. And then I published it in September. So it
Good
was
for
a
you.
2.5 year journey, but I'm here now.
Good for you. Wow. And you said you have a girlfriend or?
I did have a girlfriend and she was there through the toughest part. We're not together anymore, but if it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be here.
Beautiful. Support is everything. How about your mom and like what how's your do you live with your family? What do you do? Tell me.
So now I'm back at home with my sister, my mom and dad. They were there. My sister when this all started was 6, so she had no real clue what was going on. But she's very helpful and understanding, and watches out for me. We're really close now, and my mom and dad just did the best they could, and they were very supportive. And now they're very supportive of my endeavors. My mom financed a lot of the book stuff and early on, and when I was able to finally put this book together, I was really proud of the way it came out. And people are now saying, hey, you can actually write, you're not just writing what you went through, you're actually telling a story. So I give all thanks to my creator, my family, my friends, my loved ones, acquaintances. I started a GoFundMe for this last surgery that raised $50,000 in the first 2 days and about 75 in the first week. And I just didn't know how much people would care. And it just goes to show you that there is a side of humanity that is often not shown in popular culture where people just want to help. And I'm
That's
thankful for
true.
those.
There are, we tend, and I always look at the glass half full. And my son calls me the kumbaya man, a woman, kumbaya mom. But there, if you look, and because of all the stuff that I've been through, I believe that I choose to be just grateful because there's so many good things in the world. I mean, people look at the bad things a lot of the times, and I choose to say, wow, there's some really good people in the world. There's some really good things in the world. Come on.
And people don't realize that we're biologically from the cavemen to be able to pick out the negatives, but you have to retrain your brain to see that 20% of what you see is bad news. The rest of the 80% is all the good stuff you're ignoring. And I choose to focus on the 80%. I say gratitude is my basis, vulnerability is my superpower, empathy is my weapon of choice, and my story is my fuel source. All those combined together help me just, the difference between a negative person and an optimist is that, looking out the window in a rainstorm, the optimist sees the sun come over the horizon, and the negative person or the pessimist sees the dirt on the window. And I choose to see the sun coming up over the horizon.
I love it. I love that. I love that. Oh, I love you. You're 26 years old. This next generation, we are not in trouble. We aren't. Um, what else can you share with me? Tell me.
Yeah, a lot of times it does feel like everything is uncertain, everything seems dark, and it seems like the world is crushing itself around you. But I think it's important for us to remain present, which is why I do a lot of meditation, a lot of grounding exercises, because danger is real, but fear sometimes is made up in our head, and that leads to a lot of anxiety. And then a lot of people do a lot of backward focus. Looking at the past will lead to a lot of depression. So remaining rooted in the moment and breathing in every breath, tasting every molecule of the food you eat, just embracing I really want to get to the point where I have the unconditional love for everyone I meet. And that's, whether they hate me or they love me or they give to me and they take from me, I want to have love for every person. And that, it seems almost unattainable. But if you have dreams that seem attainable or I can see it happening, it's not big enough. And my ultimate career goal is to impact 1 billion people and live to age 100 and get my book translated in every country on the planet. And it's not written done before, but I'll be the one to do it. Or it's not about the result or the end of the journey or the destination. It's about the road you take to get there. And every time I set a higher goal for myself, it makes my journey that much more sweet. I don't look up to anyone but myself in 10 years. And in 10 years, I could keep pushing that goalpost. And then when it's my time, I will have lived a full life and I have nothing else to give because I would have given it all away.
Amen. And I don't have any doubt that you're going to achieve everything you want to achieve. And like Gary Vee says, at 26, you are such a baby. He actually would probably call me a baby at 56, because Gary Vee would say you have another 100 years to live. So you have forever to achieve your dream, you know? You're just beautiful. Um, your book, is it on audio?
Not yet. Because of my surgeries and stuff, I have dysphagia. So it's difficult for me. So it's like the muscle back here, I guess, is
Mhm,
I have
mhm.
difficulty swallowing and the muscle stiffness here. I have difficulty talking for long periods of time. And I've practiced like doing just reading it out loud. And I just not able to get the cadence. So I have a guy on standby. And what I'm gonna do with that is next year I'm gonna put him to the task and I'll have little interjections in between each chapter so that at least hear my voice a little bit. But when it gets on audio, I think it'll reach a lot more people because a lot of people
It
just
will, it will. I have to tell you it will, because I've had people on, well, I had another gentleman on here and he had a book out, and it's coming out in audio soon, but I love to read. It's just, I have to tell you, I'm being honest, I've been really trying to build up my TikTok platform for my business, and just I'm an RN holistic health coach. Things just kind of went a different way with COVID. um I spent a lot of time on the phone and on the computer, and the books have just been sitting there, but I do run every morning, and so that's when I listen to any podcast, books. So definitely would be a great addition for sure to do
Yeah,
that.
it's
So
definitely
I'll
going to
read
get
it
done.
for you if you want.
I'm definitely going to get it done. I'm definitely going to get it done.
I'll put it on audio. I'll be your reader. Um, wow. You gave me a lot of words of wisdom for my audience, but if you want to say something else, I'm more than happy to listen to it.
Yeah, I only got one more. It's just something I say whenever I speak to people. Um, Times seem dark and uncertain, and like I said before, the world seems like it's closing in on you, and you don't know where to go, where to turn to. Oh, you're not sure what's going to happen next. Um, but just remember, the darkest night always comes for the brightest morning, and your morning is coming, and there is always, always, always hope.
Amen. I love that. I thought you were going to say there's always a new dawn, and that's the name of my business.
Oh, well, I should have
It's
said that. It would have been perfect
it's
segue.
that would have freaked me out. My business is it's a new dawn because there's always a new day, and it's also named after my sister-in-law Dawn, who passed away from cancer.
Mm.
So, but I believe that there's always a new day, new chance, right? Um, I'm gonna have all the show links below, but if you want to tell people where they can get in touch with you and find your book and all that.
Yeah, the books are available on Amazon again in paperback ebook format. Lenora will have all the links, and I'm on every social platform but TikTok. I was on there and then I stopped doing it, but now I'm gonna get back on because Lenora said I should do
You're
it.
gonna get it on. You're like the fourth person who said that because Lenora said I should get back on. Yes, do it.
So I'm on all the platforms besides TikTok for right now. You can Google my name, and I'm sure some platforms comes up. Kawan Glover, Kawanglover, and yeah, I'm available. And what I'll do for you, Lenora, and your audience, anyone wants to reach out to me directly, they can email me at overcomeadversitytoday@gmail.com, overcomeadversitytoday@gmail.com, or they can call me or text me at 240-723-2134. Again, that number is 240-723-2134. And that's it.
I got it all down here on your paper, so I'm gonna get that all in the show notes. Hang out for a second. You guys, you can reach me, and all my information is in the show links below. And I keep forgetting to do this, but if you don't ask, you don't receive. Please, please, please support me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's a New Dawn. I'm also on every major platform. It would be really great if you are on Apple Podcast. I know you can leave a review there. Give me a 5-star rating. Come on, you guys. And just listen, please support, share, comment, like. It all helps for me. I'm going to leave all my information in the show notes. My Google number is there if you want to reach out to me for anything. And the Rawr Bar, you guys know, I am not a sponsor, but I am an ambassador and an affiliate. I love this company. They give 10% of their net proceeds to feed the hungry children worldwide. All you have to do is go on their website, which go to my affiliate link in the show notes if you're going to order. That will help me help them a little bit. You can see their website. You can see where they go to feed the children. They're just beautiful. They're a young couple, Jake and Rachel. They're married. They're beautiful people. They are protein packed, these bars. They're delicious. All organic ingredients. They are vegan, but they fit every diet. 11 to 13 net carbs, which means it's low in sugar, no artificial sweeteners, put together by coconut oil, which is great for the brain. Sweetened with coconut nectar, blackstrap molasses, a little bit of Himalaya salt. Please support me. Please support them. Use the affiliate link below. Rawr Bar, RAWR. And on that note, thank you, Kawan, for joining me. I so appreciate it. You are a beautiful soul. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.